parade begins at the intersection of Dallas and Bagby Streets, heads through downtown before circling City Hall, and heads outbound on Island Parkway, out of downtown, dispersing at Wall Drive. Further information on tickets can be found at theartcarparade.com. Support for KPFT and the Prison Show is provided by the Cohen Parole Law Firm. For almost 40 years, Gary Cohen has helped represent incarcerated individuals throughout Texas obtain parole and fight parole revocations. We protect those who have fallen short of perfection from the wrath of those who believe they have attained it. For more information about Gary Cohen and his associates, Alan Bennett and Gene Anthus, you can find it at the website, parolelaw.com. You may also contact them at 512-476-6201.
Listeners should be aware that the following program contains language and audio images which may be found disturbing and may not be suitable for your snotty-nosed little brat who probably cusses like a sailor behind your back anyway. Parental discretion is advised.
Daddy, I'm coming to see you at visiting hours next week. Mama ain't been doing too well, I'll tell you more when we speak. And Billy's loving high school. He's out there blocking for JV. I'm sure he's gonna come around by the time you get released. It's Friday night, the inmates go quiet. Listen for the boys, they know it's prison.
It's time to holler down the pipe chase and rattle them bars, because we're going to do a prison show for you right here at beautiful old, historic old, exciting new KPFT Houston, from the heart of Montrose, where we all hope tomorrow will be a better day.
Dreams, I can see your freedom, I will hold you once more. To men with no visitors, no money on the books. Remember, David's always gonna be here. You're never so alone. This ain't my love. It's Friday night, the inmates go quiet. Listen for a voice they know. It's prison radio. Prison radio.
Prison show. There we go. Welcome to the prison show. Tonight is it's Friday, and it's March the 28th, I believe.
Yeah, you believe pretty good.
Yeah, I believed it.
You had faith.
So we have celebrated the prison show, the 45th birthday of the prison show. And people who have listened to the prison show for years, y'all pretty much know everyone's voice when they call. Years ago, we used to have Daniel Acker's mama who would call every week. Faithful caller. Well, Miss Shirley, she called a faithful caller for years for her son Blaine. Miss Shirley passed away this past Wednesday, the 26th. She passed away, and, you know, each time one of our mamas, our fathers, when they pass, or anyone who passes who calls us consistently, it breaks us too. And we love Blaine very much, and we are hurting for him. We are hurting for Miss Shirley's family. So just remember to cherish your loved ones, no matter if they are in prison, if they're not. Just make sure you cherish your loved ones. So, with that said, tonight on the prison show. David, of course, has lined up a great show, and I missed y'all last week. I was sick, but I'm here this week. So Meghann Sanger is going to be on tonight. She's the Chief Legal Operations Officer at Post-Conviction Relief Associates. Dr. Amite will be on. She's the president and founder at Texas Prisons Community Advocates. Mimi Rodriguez, criminal justice organizer with Grassroots Leadership, and Taj, which is Texas Advocates for Justice. And of course, Abraham Bonowitz. He is the co-director and founder at Death Penalty Action. So David has lined up a great show for us, and let us get right into it. I think somebody's pressing a button, and it's
Yeah, it's Meghann. Meghann on line one.
like,
Yep.
hey Meghann, are you there?
I'm here. I just pressed any buttons. I apologize, but I'm happy to push some buttons.
No, we got you. It was in-house pushing a button.
How come I bet you could push some buttons?
Well, I might be that red hair, sir. I'm not sure.
So Meghann, how are you doing this Friday?
Oh, I am fantastic. I'm thrilled to be on here again. My love and condolences go out to Miss Shirley and Blaine. And my hope is that people remember that love is stronger than death. That's very sad, and I'm very sorry to hear that someone has passed.
Yes, love is stronger than death. Absolutely. I think we've all learned that the hard way. So what do you have for us this evening?
Well, so the last time I had the lovely opportunity to be on air, we actually received a phone call or two, and of those phone calls, we have decided to take a case. While I can't tell too much information on it, what I can tell you is that it is a case out of Florida, and it is one of the ongoings that we're dealing with in our criminal justice communities with the juveniles receiving life sentences, which has been deemed unconstitutional. And I am very grateful for the opportunity to help anybody and everybody that we possibly can reach. However, because we had the opportunity to come on your show, we are helping this individual, and we are just in the beginning processes, and, you know, bureaucracy moves at glacial speed, as everyone knows.
Yes.
So, you know, we can't move faster than we'd like to, but we are just in the processes, and I thought maybe we would talk a little bit about the juveniles that are currently you know, not getting resentenced, though, as they should be. And it's horrific as it sounds, to be honest with you.
And, you know, we hear from them constantly. There's so many in Texas, as clearly in Florida. So many of them sentenced when they were 15, 16 years old, and, you know, now they're in their 40s.
Yeah, as of, I think, 2025, 33 states and D.C. have banned or have no one serving life without parole for children. But that leaves a whole host of states that are still allowing some huge sentencing disparities. And it's up to each state, despite the Supreme Court's rulings, of what they're going to do. And so it gets a de facto life sentence with the lengthy sentences that juveniles are receiving. And it's unbelievable. It's actually not unbelievable at this point, unfortunately. It's too true to be unbelievable, unfortunately. And we are doing the good fight and trying to help people get resentenced and fight for the rulings that our Supreme Court has handed down. And there were some very big landmark cases, and you would think after 2012, when the Supreme Court ruled unconstitutional to subject children to a mandatory life without parole sentence, or even, you know, like we proceeded back and they said that in 2016 that it clarifies that this ruling applies retroactively, meaning it applies to cases where the sentencing occurred before the ruling. We still have people who are waiting to be resentenced. And I think, you know, in 2025, from a 2010, 2012, 2016, or 18 ruling, it's time that people are resentenced, period.
So just to make sure that people listening understand correctly, as of 2016, the Supreme Court said that juveniles cannot be sentenced retroactively even to life.
That's correct. So in 2010, there was the first one that was a Graham versus Florida that struck down life without parole sentences for juveniles. And then following that, there's been multiple cases, but the big, huge one is in 2016. That's correct. Montgomery versus Louisiana. It clarifies that the Miller applies retroactively. Again, meaning it absolutely applies to cases where the sentencing occurred before the ruling, which is the retroactive part.
Wow. Okay. I am.
But in 2017, Florida actually came out and said that after we made clear that Graham does indeed apply to terms of year sentences, we've declined to require that such sentences must be de facto life sentences for Graham to apply.
Well, right. So there are a few states where I get a little hanky, and you know, I'm only one woman here, and I'm only one person reading this legal material. But these landmark cases where the states have decided to use discretionary rules to, in fact, give these long-term, lengthy sentences that end up being mandatory life sentences, even when the Supreme Court has used scientific knowledge to deduct that this is unconstitutional against Eighth Amendment violations, we are still fighting this. It's kind of unbeknownst to me.
Well, that's what I was trying to point out. I wasn't pointing at you. I was pointing at Florida. Florida's saying they don't care what the Supreme Court said. They're saying it doesn't apply.
Right. And so this particular case that we received for being on your show the first time, we have a gentleman who is sitting in there since 2018 being resentenced, who was sentenced as a juvenile. It's awful. It's beyond words. I mean, we know, for those of us who are parents or who have any interaction with children, we know that children make very different decisions than adults. And we also know in the criminal justice community that typically you age out of crime, right, whether it be your environment, whether it be an addiction, whatever it is, right? You age out. So how can you not give someone a second chance who was a child? It's beyond me.
So he became an adult in 2018?
Me? Or
no, him.
In 2018, because he was already an adult, but in 2018, because of the Supreme Court rulings, right?
I see what you mean.
They sent him back to county to get resentenced, because normally you do all of your sentencing gets done in the county that you were in.
Right.
And he's been sitting there waiting for something to happen.
But he's been incarcerated since 2005, right?
That's correct. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, that's just way too long.
Well, right. And so, and we know that in the county versus in the prison, not that I'm saying that either is worse or better, but typically there is less avenue to better oneself, to be educated, to do very much of anything. And he's been sitting in there for I can't even count, 5, 6, 8 years.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm using my hands.
Yeah. At least you didn't use your toes.
For what?
Yeah.
Easy here. But yeah, and and I had talked earlier very briefly, and you look at actually Michigan, where is my home state, we have a outrageous high amount of life with juveniles. And now, while many of them have gotten out, you have Pennsylvania, you have Florida, you have Alabama, you have Idaho, Indiana, Louisiana, in Oklahoma, the list goes on and on. I can't understand why we are not recognizing the Supreme Court case rulings.
So, like you said, you are just one woman.
That's right, ma'am.
I know the feeling. So, who else is working on cases like this besides you? Is there anyone?
Well, I'm sure that there's a host of people, and I would be not doing legitimate, good works and giving them their kudos. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I do know that the Southern Poverty Law Center has done some really good work. I think what we're finding, and this is what I said to you many weeks ago, there is just so many cases and so many instances that are slipping through the cracks. There's just not enough to pick it up, to be honest with you. And we do the best that we can, but obviously we can't take every case on for free, nor can anyone else, right? And then when you look at those innocent clinics and, you know, cases that absolutely need to be reviewed, there's just not enough organizations, period.
No.
And we do what we can, and it's a very small margin, but it's not enough. And my hope is that this reaches everyone and you know, keep fighting the good fight. And there are people who care, and you are not forgotten. But, I mean, you know, when it's a ruling and it's been made, you know, public knowledge to every single state, senator, representative, I don't know why we are all not on board together. It blows my mind.
It blows my mind, too. So, David sent me a lawyers working on juvenile life without parole link. Thank you, David.
You asked.
I did ask, and I'm very there's a few of them, yes. So of course we need more, like you were saying, Meghann. We definitely need more. So at this point, you were on last time, and you picked up one of the cases from when you were on. They wrote to you, they called you.
Absolutely, yes, we did. And Brandon, who is the founder of this organization and the firm, he is the one who took the initiative and agreed to take this on pro bono. God bless him. He couldn't be on tonight. We keep trying to get him on. He's kind of the man behind the scene. And, but, you know, there are these instances, as this is an example, where this is just not ethical or constitutional. And sometimes you just, despite having no money or despite, you know, fighting an uphill challenge, you can't help but not to.
And just to make sure I understood, you were working with not necessarily juvenile lifers without parole, but you're working on some with parole, even though is that correct? Or
That's
just, okay.
That is correct. So we typically deal with all post-conviction type cases, anything with resentencing, habeas corpus, any of that, because, you know, these sentences that are being handed down throughout our nation are lengthy. They do not give any kind of margin often for second chances. First-time offenders are getting the book thrown at them. And we are trying our best to decrease mass incarceration, you know, one case at a time.
And thank heavens for you. Now, if somebody wanted to write to you, where do they write?
So if someone wanted to write to us, you know, I just wrote this down. Pardon me, because I do not use our address too often. It is in New York, and you are, oh my goodness, and here we go. I don't know why I just my piece of paper, but so the easiest way to write to us is, first I'm going to give you our website, which is just going to be postconvictionreliefassociates.com. Hold on. And I'm so sorry. And then the easiest way to write to us would be 825 3rd Avenue, New York, New York, 10022.
Okay, that's 825 3rd Avenue, New York, New York, 10022?
That's correct.
All right. Well, we appreciate you being on, Meghann. Thank you for all the work you're doing. I know that Texas has a proposed bill that they're looking at that's called Second Looker, or that's what they're terming it, the Second Look bill. So hopefully that helps some of the offenders here in Texas.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having us and letting us, you know, shed some light. And I hope that everyone incarcerated knows that they're loved, they're not forgotten, and there are people like us all throughout the nation fighting for them.
Yes, there are. Thank you, Meghann. You have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Godspeed.
Same to you. Bye-bye. Okay, now we're going to move on over to Dr. Amite Dominick on line 2. Hey, Dr. Amite.
Hey, Dani. I'm a little sick again, so I might sound a little rough tonight. Yeah. It's been this crazy thing trying to get back on the prison show. It seems like either I'm sick or David's sick or something happens, and I was like, I don't care if I'm sick. I'm going on tonight. It's definitely happening. Got to let the folks inside know what's going on with the legislative session. So we have got a number of bills filed. But you know what? Before I do that, let's talk about the lawsuit, right? Because that's what everybody really wants to know about. We finally got the ruling from Judge Pittman. Now, Judge Pittman denied our order for temporary air conditioning. And it's important to note that. What we were asking for was temporary air conditioning. However, we are definitely counting this as a win because throughout the entire document, the judge made it very, very clear that we are, and I'm going to quote him, the court finds that the plaintiffs have met their burden of establishing a likelihood of success on the merits that TDCJ Executive Director Collier is violating the 8th Amendment prohibition against cruel and unusual punishment. And he made that clear throughout the entire document, and with a clear understanding from our attorneys that they are getting ready to file those motions for permanent air conditioning. The judge, there's some technicalities of dealing with the temporary air conditioning. And the judge, if I can paraphrase, is stating that it may actually hamper getting permanent air conditioning in if he were to have ordered temporary air conditioning because of the cost. Right? Because of the cost and the logistics of getting that temporary air conditioning in. Now, does that mean that TPCA isn't going to ask our legislators for temporary air conditioning? No. We are still going to ask our legislators to do something during this summer heat. Right? Because the process of getting the air conditioning in is going to take a while. And people have been dying. Year after year after year. They've been suffering year after year after year. This is a job that should have been done a long, long time ago. And Judge Pittman also made it very clear throughout the entire document that this falls at the feet of our legislators. They hold the purse. They could have done this a long time ago instead of this slow trickle of funds. We have the money in the budget to get the job done. They just need to get it done. So having said that, we've got a number of bills that we've got filed for this political session as per usual. You know, we're always pushing to get that done. And some of those bills, of course, Senator Menendez is sponsoring a bill like he always does. We've got Representative Canales, who's got a bill sponsored. I'm going to give those bill numbers. SB 169. And the nice thing about Senator Menendez's bill this session is he has several other senators signed on to this bill. So Senator Blanco, Cook, Eckhart, Gutierrez, Johnson, Alvarado have all signed on to this bill. However, what happens every session is we get stuck in the Senate, right? The bill has been sent to Senate Finance, and once again, Senator Hoffman is running that committee and just refuses to have a hearing on that bill. You know, so that is the cog in the ointment, and that is what we're asking people to do, to reach out specifically. If you don't get anybody else done, get the Senate Finance done. Reach out to those Senate Finance members and tell them you want this done. Canales' bill is 3006. We have another bill by Representative Rosenthal, that's HB 489. Another bill by Representative Trey Martin Fisher, that's HB 1315. One more by Representative Bryant, that is HB 2997. And the last one was filed by Representative Ron Reynolds, that's HB 3443. Sorry. So we are continuing the fight. We're continuing to move forward. We've got a number of other bills that we've been looking into this session, working with Voices for Our Veterans, Sergeant Steve Price. There's a couple of good bills in the House asking for more services for our veterans by House Member Raymond, that's HB 153, and House Member Josie Garcia, 5639. This year, we're working with TIFA on independent oversight. We really believe that the time is right. Given the sunset recommendations, they really fall in line with independent oversight, which is a national movement. So we've asked Representative Canales to file a bill on the topic, and that bill is very similar to what they're doing in New Jersey, where you have an independent ombudsman who can listen to family members, who can dig deeper, who can have what I consider the black card, right? Where they can walk in whenever they need to walk in, they can handle whatever they need to handle whenever they need to handle it. Senator Miles has also filed SB 2387 on independent oversight. And so we're trying to pull together some resources to get that one across the plate. On compassionate release, Senator Cook has filed 2756. And I don't know if I have enough time to mention all the solitary confinement bills. You know, working with Brittany over there and her team and our inside volunteers, we have got, I think, 7 bills just on solitary confinement. So, and they're all just slightly different in their approach, but we're really going after that this year, and we're really happy with Rep. Meza and Senator Menendez again, and Rep. Jones for filing those bills. On the law parties front, we have the bills from Representative Leach and Representative Dutton that they typically file every session, so we're looking forward to maybe some more positive momentum on those. Medical care, we've got a couple of bills filed by Rep. Meza. Mental health, there's a really good bill by Representative Bowers. Toxic water, we are so happy to get that toxic water report out. And it's going to be the first of many because there's just not a lot of research on that topic. But we know from the folks inside that they're getting sick and they're not getting treated right. And then they have to deal with that on top of the heat. Like, how are you supposed to stay hydrated in the heat when your water has H. pylori in it and other things like arsenic, right? So Senator Menendez and Senator Betancourt have SB 1929 on that. And then, of course, we've got the sunset bills that come up this session as well from Senator Parker and Representative Canales. So, and then there's, you know, maybe we'll see some amendments coming through in a little while. Maybe we're going to tweak a few of those bills a couple of different ways just to keep pushing the envelope on getting humane conditions in these Texas prisons. We as advocates, we're always having to go back and forth with TDCJ, and we've got to yank this bad boy out by its root, right? So that we're no longer going to have to deal with these issues anymore. And it is really incumbent upon our legislators who are charged to take care of the people in their care to get this job done. So that is where we're at in terms of the lawsuit and in terms of just trying to get these political bills across the plate. Session ends the first couple of days in June. I'm not recalling the exact date. So this is very fast moving. We need people encouraging their family members to get down to the Capitol, to call their legislators, to write their legislators, and to get ready to testify. Because we will have a hearing, we will have hearings in the House coming up soon, and then it's off to the Senate and vice versa. We need as many voices as possible to come out and say, we need to see a change. The judge agreed with us. The judge said that we're not lying. It's true what's happening in there. People are really dying behind those walls because of the heat. And so that part of that was definitely a win, since we're always up against that friction. So that friction so much to the point that even during our hearings with stellar witnesses, Collier said that our report from Yale, Brown University, he said he didn't even think it was a good study. Like, that's how, indifferent the agency has actually been towards this. And knowing that their officers are suffering as well. The officers are not wanting to come to work because it's too doggone hot. Nobody wants to go to work and have a heat stroke. And we already know, data shows us, even in the free world, people are not happy campers when it gets hot, right? So we know that friction happens behind the walls. We know that it would be much cheaper for the state overall to have air conditioning in their prisons. That things like mold on the walls, things like extra fans, those are costing the state. Just get it done and get it done right. That's what we're asking for at this point. That's what we need to have done right now. So that is where I didn't go over my 15 minutes today.
No, you didn't.
That is where that is absolutely where we are at right now. We're also going to get a newsletter out. We haven't got one out in about a year. So happy to get that into the folks in the inside. Hopefully should be hitting the mail by about next Friday. Fingers crossed that the printer gets that all taken care of.
You know, you had mentioned something about the water, and you know they're installing water filtration systems in some of the units.
Yeah.
Like Memorial and Styles. I know that at the Styles unit, one of the incarcerated men went to go get some water out of the filtration system, and one of the officers said that that's not for inmates.
Wow.
That's only for officers.
Wow.
Yes.
The cruelty never ceases.
No, it doesn't. It was, you know, of course, you know, that someone called and let me know that that was going on over at the Styles unit. So I'm sure it's happening at other units too.
Absolutely, it's happening. We hear the stories. You know, even if we can't get back to the letters immediately, we're paying attention, and we definitely care over here. We definitely are listening and concerned about the individuals who are inside, and that's why we were so happy to get this report out. Simone was the lead author on that, and she's been corresponding with some folks in the inside, and it was just really burdened on her to get this done, and it was a year's worth of labor of love to just get this preliminary study out so that we can add credibility. This particular bill is going to focus on a study bill to actually look at the data, because one of the things that we found is the testing isn't consistent. And we know it's different at each unit as to the problems that they have to deal with. We know that TDCJ has made some forward movement in water treatment plants. They have. But it's too little, and it's taken too much time. Once again, we need our legislators to give the money to TDCJ so we can get more water treatment plants installed, so we can look at those pipes. We've got possible lead piping in there, possible corroded piping, if we've got units that are over 100 years old. All those things need to be investigated, and all of those things need to be dealt with, because we need to treat people humanely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How can someone get a hold of you, Dr. Amite? Where do they write?
P.O. Box 1974, Fulton, Texas 78358. One more time. P.O. Box 1974, Fulton, Texas 78358.
All right. So they can write you about the bills, and including the solitary confinement bills that Okay, great.
Yeah, we're sending in the newsletter. We did our list like we did last session in March, so we've got a big old list of bills attached to that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. And thank you so much for being on tonight. I know how it is when you're not feeling good, so we appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Y'all continue to keep doing what you're doing, and have a great night.
You too. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. She had some great information. Now we're going over to Mimi Rodriguez. She is with Taj. How you doing, Mimi?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are y'all doing?
Doing fabulous. So what do you have for us this evening?
Well, thank you for having me on. And just, I know y'all know me, but for those who may be listening that don't, I'm Mimi, and I, like you mentioned, work with a criminal justice organizer with grassroots leadership and Texas Advocates for Justice. So we are a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization working to end mass incarceration, criminalization, and deportation of our communities. We do that through building power in our communities by organizing and doing advocacy work. So as y'all know, Texas Advocates for Justice is a program made up of individuals who are formerly incarcerated or their families or people who have formerly or currently incarcerated loved ones. We also have our participatory defense program where we support people with an open criminal case. We're not attorneys, we're organizers, so we don't do representation or legal advice. We simply share our own experiences, and we empower people with the tools and resources so they can have, an active role in their case. And so our goal is time saved, which is a play on, the words time served. So we try to reduce the amount of time that people will have, being sentenced to incarceration. So it's a little bit of trying to, the proactive work of trying to prevent people from being incarcerated. And then it's also a lot of reentry work when people return. After incarceration, we try to give them a support space, and we do leadership development. So we're, hopefully getting people to a point where they feel comfortable being civically engaged, by using their own lived experience to make a difference in the political world. So last month, so every year when Texas legislators in session, we have our advocacy day at the Capitol. So we had that last month on the 21st, February 21st. We partnered with some other really awesome grassroots organizations, Equality Texas, Woody Juntos, Vocal Texas, Workers Defense, just to name a few. And so what we try to do is, expose people who may have never had the experience of going to, the legislator, meeting with their representatives, understanding what the legislative process is like and how to either support or oppose, the legislation that makes a difference in our communities' everyday lives. So, last year we were involved in a campaign. I think I came on here and talked about it, where we were trying to get people out to vote who have, felony convictions. We're making sure that people who are no longer on papers, once they qualify to have their voting rights restored, we want to make sure that people know that they do have the right to vote. And so we did what was called relational organizing and trying to make sure people were registered and get them out to the polls. And so just recently, a couple of days ago, one of our Austin organizers, Brother Robert Lilly, he's formerly incarcerated. He's currently on parole. And so as y'all know, people that are on parole do not currently have the right to vote. And so he was able to participate in a press conference to talk about a couple of bills that were just introduced, where they're trying to remove that restriction of parole and probation. So the idea is if the parole board is trusting someone to return to the community, right, and be able to serve out the rest of their sentence here, then they should have the right to vote, right? They should have the right to participate in the civic process. And so there's a couple of bills. There's a Senate Bill 631 and House Bill 590 that address that. And so currently, I think the number, they said it's slightly more than 2% of the population in Texas who are on probation or parole that cannot vote right now as it stands. And so that's, the work that we do is being engaged in the legislative process, whether it's at the state level or the local level, or even, sometimes at the federal level. We pay attention to when these bills are introduced, and if it's a good bill, we'll support and, try to get it to go to committee and testify and those kind of things. And so that was, we really like to give our members that firsthand experience of what it's like, because it can be really intimidating, especially with the stigma that's attached to people with involvement in the justice system. And so, that's what we do at Grassroots Leadership, Texas Advocates for Justice. We have our monthly general body meetings every third Sunday of the month. We used to do them on the first Mondays, but we've kind of changed that to hopefully make it more accessible to more people in the community. And so we have it at our office. It's Sunday evenings for anybody that, is looking to get involved in making a difference, in like I said, in our everyday lives of the people, of our family members who are currently or formerly incarcerated. So, I think that's all sorry, one more thing. We have our annual Night Out for Safety and Liberation coming up in August. We do this every year. And so that is an event where it's a kind of counter narrative to the National Night Out. And so we invite our communities into a space where we can imagine what safety looks like without having to rely on, policing and surveillance and incarceration. And so that will be coming up in August. We're starting to plan for that. And so, we just invite anyone who has any experience or leadership skills or, research skills, policy experience to come fight the good fight with us.
So to get involved with Taj, you would go to the meeting that's every third Sunday?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And they can find that information on our website, Grassroots Leadership. Sign up to attend our meetings.
Awesome. And what is a good address that someone can write to you?
So address it to Texas Advocates for Justice, and that would be P.O. Box 88235. And that's in Houston, Texas. The zip code is 77288.
Okay, I have P.O. Box 88235, Houston 77288.
That is correct.
All right, Mimi. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you as well. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate y'all. Have a good rest of y'all's night.
You too. Bye-bye. All right, now we're going to go to Abe. Hey, Abe.
Hello and good evening, everybody. Glad to hear you're doing better.
Yes.
Dani.
Thank you so much. It was rough.
Well, I know how it was. You can remember a few weeks ago when I could barely get a word in without, actually I managed to get through the whole report without hacking, but
yes.
It was rough. So, anyway, I'm grateful to be with you all. And I'm also grateful to be able to share a little bit of good news. And I wish I had more good news, but in Delaware last week, the Delaware House of Representatives Committee, I think it was the Criminal Justice Committee, passed a bill to out of committee to constitutionally prohibit the death penalty in that state, which would make, if this gets all the way through, which we think it will actually, make Delaware the second state after Michigan to have a constitutional prohibition on the death penalty. I'll remind you that last year in June, the Delaware legislature passed a bill that scrubbed all death penalty language out of the state statute. This after the state Supreme Court threw out Delaware's death penalty entirely. So, there's space for hope, and there's some good happening, and I wish I had more good news. Although, leaning in the good news, I want to share with you, I'm sitting at a truck stop right now off I-71 in Ohio, somewhere around Ashland, Ohio, which is about 40 miles south of Cleveland, on my way home to Columbus. And I was in Cleveland for a film screening at the Cleveland International Film Festival, where Sabrina Van Tassel was showing her new film. It's called Missing from Fire Trail Road. It's about indigenous women in the northeast of the United States who are disappearing, being kidnapped, and all the things that happen to Native Americans there. But I mention this because Sabrina Van Tassel is the director of the film The State of Texas versus Melissa, which is back again on Hulu and streaming, and you can find it if you go to freemelissalucio.org. There's links to where you can find the film. And she mentioned that in the context of we are waiting every week, looking for the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals to finally rule on the motion put forth by the Cameron County prosecutor, Louis Syons, who is going to end up being the hero in this case, and also the judge who sentenced Melissa Lucio to death. They both have signed a motion to basically throw out Melissa's conviction and death sentence, and recognizing that Cameron County withheld exculpatory evidence that would have helped her win an acquittal at trial. So, Melissa, if you're listening tonight, we're hoping you heal well from your surgery and that you are free as soon as possible. And just know that I was together with Sabrina, and she actually spoke about you and your case from the stage while talking about her other film, which was pretty cool. And I was just grateful.
Hey,
yeah.
Abe, maybe we could try to put Melissa's movie on Adovo.
Well, that would be fabulous. And if there's anything that we need to do to help make that happen, just tell me, because the other person that was with us was somebody from FilmRise, which is the company that basically helped make that film happen, and is the distribution company for the film.
Awesome.
So
Okay.
we can absolutely, just get with me and let's figure it out.
Okay.
But in any case, what we know about Melissa's case, for those who just somehow don't know about it yet, is there was no murder, but she was forced into a confession to say that she did kill her daughter when in fact she didn't, and the science proves that she didn't. And the county prosecutor and the judge who sentenced her to death are both advocating for her freedom now, and we're just waiting for the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals to get off its butt and sign the documents and order her back to Cameron County Court in Brownsville, where they'll basically dismiss the charges and free her. That's what should happen. It's possible that the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals just denies the motion and sets her up for execution again, although I don't see how that would happen, because if I understand correctly, the county prosecutor has to ask a county judge to set an execution date, and I don't see that happening in this case. So we're going to see where it goes. But in any case, shout out to Melissa, shout out to Rodney Reed, shout out to Moises Mendoza, and anybody else that's on Death Watch in Texas. And that's, so there's that. Now, of course, on to the rest of the news, which is all bad. I'm sorry to say. It is, we had 4 executions in 3 days last week. Tuesday was the first execution in Louisiana in 15 years. It was making Louisiana the second state to use gas suffocation for its execution method. There was an execution in Arizona, an execution in Oklahoma, and then an execution in Florida, which interestingly was at the last minute postponed for 2 hours because Governor DeSantis had chosen to go up to D.C. to be present for the executive order signing to dismantle the Department of Education. So, the crazy stuff that they're up to. And while I'm mentioning Governor DeSantis, I will also say that he's running around the country now promoting legislation to have the death penalty for people who sexually assault people under the age of 12. juveniles. So the several states, including Florida, has this, and Idaho just passed it, a bill to make it law that so this is a non-homicide challenge. They're trying to get a bunch of states to reintroduce this, to introduce this kind of legislation, which would then make it, doing away with the evolving standards of decency and turn that around to evolving standards of ugliness and reprehensible behavior. The Supreme Court will kind of follow the trends in the states. I don't see this happening, that they would uphold that as constitutional, but states are passing it because they want to force the U.S. Supreme Court to look at that issue again. So it's kind of ugly, and that's what DeSantis is doing. And also, of course, DeSantis has set another execution date. That's the next execution coming up. And I get this, Michael Tansey is scheduled to be executed on April 8th, and I have not seen yet if the judge has issued a ruling yet, but his attorneys, I think yesterday or the day before, had to file a motion in court to order the Florida Department of Corrections to provide him with a wheelchair so that he doesn't have to walk, because it's very painful for him to walk. He's got all kinds of medical conditions, sciatica, and he's obese and all that. But for him to get to where he will have his religious and legal visits in the next couple of weeks before they kill him on April 8th, he has to walk, and it's very painful. And his lawyers filed a motion to force the DOC to provide a wheelchair, as if they can't just do that out of the goodness of their evil hearts.
Yeah.
So that's going to set off another trend. This is the second person scheduled for execution this year who would have to be delivered to the execution chamber in a wheelchair. So how dangerous is somebody that needs a wheelchair to move, right? Now, the first guy was Chris Pavada, and he was going to be the first person executed after 15 years in Louisiana, but he died before they could get around to killing him. And, so that's who's left on death row. Oh, I should mention another bit of good news, by the way, is Tommy Ziegler, who has been on death row in Florida since like 1975 or 76. I mean, he's been there for almost 50 years. And he has an order I'm not exactly sure what it is, but basically DNA technology has been used to demonstrate yet again that he is not likely to be the killer in that case. And maybe he'll end up being exonerated. But it's good news. I mean, when I was the director of Floridians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty from 1998 to 2005, that was one of the cases I was working on then. That's 20-some years ago. And we were demanding that, he have DNA testing back then. Anyway, that's one more, just a spot of good news in this otherwise disastrous report here. So we have that's the next execution coming up. We've got a little bit of time between then and April 8th. And then on April 11th, South Carolina will have its execution of Michael Mahdi. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And today he filed his choice to be executed by firing squad. So that'll be the second firing squad in as many executions in South Carolina. And the second one, they had their first firing squad execution, which was the first one in the United States in 15 years. And they just had that a couple weeks ago, and now there'll be a next one. And I think that's going to be kind of one of the trends, because what is clear, even if you're not happy about the violence of the firing squad, what we know is that other than any of the other methods, death is very quick. Maybe there's a little bit of pain for a minute, but essentially, unlike lethal injection, unlike gas suffocation, we know that you're hit by that fusillade of bullets and you're dead within a minute or so, if not immediately, and maybe immediately unconscious. So in terms of feeling pain and in terms of suffering, what we now know lethal injection to be is actually drowning in your own fluids as your lungs fill with blood and liquid. This is the trend that we're on. That's another thing that is happening. I'll get to that in a moment with the federal death penalty, or the federal agenda on the death penalty But just quickly, the next Texas execution, April 23rd, Moises Mendoza. Nothing seems to be in the way of that execution. We know that his lawyer is asking for clemency, and we also know how clemency is nothing but a joke in Texas. So there's that. And then in Alabama, James Osgood is another guy who has waived his appeals and is actually asking that nobody challenge his being executed. And you have to respect that in a way. He's done. He's ready to go, and just we who oppose the death penalty get to speak out and say we oppose the death penalty, but that doesn't mean that we can't give prisoners agency and decide, I don't agree with it. I think it's actually the tail wagging the dog. And it's the only place in the country really where a person gets state-assisted suicide, but only if you murder somebody and are on death row. So there's that. Just back to the federal thing now. I mentioned the non-homicide thing. That's not really a federal issue, except what it is we've really identified this. It appears as if there is a cabal, if you will, of red state attorney generals that are all talking behind the scenes to each other, and this is being prompted by Attorney General Pam Bondi from who used to be the Florida Attorney General, about how do we expand the death penalty, how do we expand the number of methods of executing people. Trump signed his executive order, one of the first executive orders that he signed when he was inaugurated. That day was for the federal government to assist states in having more executions and in speeding up executions, and they're doing that. And we're gonna see how that all plays out over the next couple of years, but that's happening, and it is, it's just something that we have to be aware of. We're in a space, Dani and David and everybody. We're in a space now where legislation is, especially in the red states, is heading in the wrong direction on the death penalty. They're expanding things. They're creating, more, widening the number of methods of execution that they're using. And for those of us in the movement to abolish the death penalty, it's going to be a time these next few years of making sure that we're shining a spotlight on it, that we're giving people tools for speaking out against executions. But, if the trends continue, we've got some of the best lawyers in the world working on these cases, in most of these cases, and it doesn't matter, because unless you end up with a case like David Woods, whose execution was halted a few weeks ago in Texas because he had real issues, and a lawyer who was able to put them forth and actually get conservative judges on the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals to agree that there was merit to his arguments, unless you can get that. And that's a very rare instance now where, these days, if you end up getting an execution date, stopping that execution is going to be really, really hard. But sometimes it's going to be possible. In most cases, it's not going to be possible. And that's the challenge that we're in this era that we're in right now. And I think it's going to last at least until we see some shifts in the political makeup in Congress and in the state legislatures. So just, know that that's what's coming. It's ugly, and it's just going to get worse for a while. And we just have to be ready to keep standing up, keep shouting from the rooftops that this is wrong. Even if they're guilty, even if they committed a horrible crime, we should not be allowing the state the power to execute people, because we can't trust them with that power. We can't trust them to fill potholes. We can't trust them to get us a vaccine that works. We can't trust them with to tax us fairly. And now we can't even trust them to keep secret when we're getting ready to bomb some brown people out in the Middle East. So, there's that.
I love that. I love that, Abe. Well, we got to close you up, but we appreciate you calling in. And your P.O. Box is P.O. Box 89?
We got it, 89 Kent, G-H-E-N-T, New York, 12075. And everybody, stay strong, have a good weekend, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Sounds good. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You're listening to KPFT Houston. Support for KPFT and the Prison Show is provided by the Cohen Parole Law Team. For almost 40 years, Gary Cohen has helped to represent incarcerated individuals throughout Texas, obtain parole, and fight parole revocations. We protect those who have fallen short of perfection from the wrath of those who believe they have attained it. More information about Gary Cohen and his associates, Alan Bennett and Gene Anthus, can be found on their website at parolelaw.com. You may also contact them at 512-476-6201.
All right. And now we're back to the best part of the show. And just to remind people, we're still in the market for a camera person. So if you think that you could do this camera, which I'm pretty sure you could, hit David up. We're still looking. You can get more angles than just me up here. So, y'all, come on.
Up in here.
Up in here. So, yeah, hit David up.
Not too hard.
No, hit him up. Hit him up.
No.
You should have seen his outfit earlier today. Lord have mercy.
I wasn't hot.
No, you weren't in any respect for that. He had on knee-high socks.
Hey, I'm 58 years old. I'm a grandpa.
Knee-high socks with khaki shorts and some what kind of shoes? Tennis shoes? Or?
We call them Jackie Chan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes, he had those on.
I was Cholo style.
He was something.
Yeah, I think Donna Dalco said that wreck turning out.
Oh, wow.
Yep, I was ready. Now I got a medical condition. I got to wear them socks. It's getting hot. I can't be wearing jeans all the time.
Yeah, we had a discussion about that earlier.
Yeah, I'm going to get me some. I got some Harley Davidson socks, and I got some psychedelic blue ones. I'm going to have to just get me some funky socks. So.
Yeah, those, yeah. Oh, Lord.
Those white ones didn't quite cut it, did they?
No.
Yeah.
No. Well, let's get to the callers. Let's get to Elizabeth on line 1. Elizabeth, you've been hanging on for a minute. How you doing?
Yeah, it's because I want to send a message or a shout out to Mrs. Lau. I have a brother incarcerated. His name is Hector Porras Jr. His number is 667-854, and I just wanted to know if you don't mind adding my little brother to your securities account to see if you can contact with him. You can get a contact with him.
And you want me?
No, Lau.
Lau.
Yeah, well, Lau calls in. I mean, we don't really have. You'd have to contact her on Facebook or something because, we don't even have her phone number. She's just one of our callers.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, she makes shout outs. That's what we thought you wanted to do, is make a shout out.
Yeah, I didn't know that because this is my second time that I
heard
do this.
Okay.
My first time was last week. I did a shout out for my brother on his birthday. So, so I'm new on this, so I just.
Miss Lau may be listening to you, so maybe she'll.
Okay.
Yeah, she was on the video, I think, a while ago.
Okay, well, if you're hearing me, Mrs. Lau, I want to see if you can contact my little brother, Hector Porras Jr., known as Boxer, to see if you can add him on your securities account.
And what's his number again?
Sorry, his number is 667-854.
All right. Hopefully she heard that.
Hopefully, yes. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Elizabeth. Have a great
Okay.
weekend.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. I think we had a Franz.
Oh, you catch me off guard, didn't you?
I did.
I see how you are.
Uh-huh.
No.
Hello, here is Frans Douw, the former warden from the Netherlands and friend of the prison show. I say hello to all the people of the prison show, and I would like to do a shout out. First, I wanted to mention Kenny Morissette, who is in Arkansas DOC, and I wish him the best. Then I would like to say something about Richard Johnstone, who is in Oklahoma DOC, and he's a friend, and I wish him all the best of the world. And of course, I do a shout out to Nana McHugh-Williams from Ramsey and his wife Tara. And also T, of course, in Polonsky. I love you guys, and I really, really hope that you're okay in your harsh circumstances. I want to do a special shout out to Travis Fletcher, who is in Lee County Jail, and Travis is in a real bad position. He didn't commit the crime he was judged for, and he is in prison for decades already, and in a position that he can't do anything about it. Totally powerless, and I wanted to Travis to know that I'm thinking of him. He's not alone, and he will. I hope, and I think we all hope that he can change the situation and manages to be the best person he can be in his situation. And I wish him the power to do that. And I heard also from other people and from families of incarcerated people that that he's doing great in his situation. Travis Fletcher, I wish you all the best.
That was really nice. Thank you, Franz. All right, now we have Ruth on line 3. Hi, Ruth. Are you there? I don't know if Ruth is there or not.
I don't know if she is. She should be on there if she's there.
I guess not.
Maybe we ought to put her back on hold and say, hey, Ruth, are you there?
Yeah. Okay, let's get to Quinlan. Hey, Quinlan?
Check Ruth.
Hey, Quinlan? I guess we got another one that's not there.
She's talking to Ruth.
She is?
Was she trying to?
No, she hung up. How about going to Quinlan, because Quinlan's not answering. So...
Yeah, put him on hold.
Okay, how about, let's go to Annalisa.
Hello everyone, it's Annalisa. I hope you are all doing very well. Hello Isidro, hi my dear friend. I hope you are doing well. I hope you are having a nice evening. It's morning here, I'm on my way to work. It's going to be a long day, but it's Friday, so I'm looking forward to the weekend to do something nice and rest. I hope you received the books. Hope you are enjoying reading them. Hope you are doing something that makes you feel good. I send you my warmest wishes, big hugs. Take care, stay positive, and know that I'm thinking of you. Bye, my dear friend. Take care. Bye, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Annalisa. Now we have Mary. Hi, Mary.
Hello. Hi, how are y'all?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I want to thank y'all for having this broadcasting system to where we can reach out to our loved ones. I want to send a shout out to my brother in Christ, Ernesto. He's at TDCJ. I just wanted to let him know that I thank the Lord upon every remembrance of him, and that I pray that he is doing well, and that it hasn't gotten extremely hot over there where he's at. Pray that he gets time of reprieve where they can cool down. And, Texas is a very hot state. So, also want to send out a shout out to Primo. He's at the Pulaski unit. Primo, if you're hearing me, I just want to also say that I love y'all both, and that I thank God also for you, my cousin, and I pray that all is well with you. And I pray that you also are getting times of reprieve over there. And last but not least, to Mondo. Mondo, I've been trying to reach out to you. I don't know if you're listening, but I can't get a hold of you. Your number is giving some kind of weird recording. So if you can hear me and if you're listening, will you please reach out to us? Ernesto is very concerned about you. Okay. I want to thank y'all. Y'all have a blessed evening and stay prayed up. That God always hears our cries, and He's a very present help in the time of need. Have a blessed evening, and thank y'all once again for the ministry. Good night.
Good night, Mary. Have a great weekend.
You too, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, now we have Diamond.
Jamal Ferguson on Beetle Unit. Me and the kids love you.
That was quick.
That was very quick, but they love him. All right. Now let's go to Eva Maria, or Marie.
Good evening, everybody. This is Eva Maria from Germany. Again, I would like to greet not just my pen friend, Rodolfo, but also everyone in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, especially those who don't have friends or family outside prison. I think I can hardly imagine your situation myself, never having been in such a situation. But I remember Viktor Frankl, who was an Austrian psychologist, and he was in a concentration camp during Nazi times and witnessed many people being killed and nearly being killed himself. And he wrote about meaning and about living in extreme situations. He said, quotation, "Forces beyond your control can take away everything you possess, except one thing. Your freedom to choose how you will respond to the situation." And he also said, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." I wish you a blessed evening and a good weekend. Goodbye.
All right. Thank you, Eva Maria. Now we have Coco. Okay, Coco. There we go. Hi, Coco.
Hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay. Hey, good. Salutations from Oklahoma. So first shout out I want to send to the people in Orient, Eric Mejia, Uriah Vargas, then there's North Carolina. If Tiffany Cheeks, if I get if it's North Carolina, it was all, I'm sorry. Angel Espinosa from Lima, Mark Hanlon from Arizona, and then I have Travis Fletcher from Florida, Lee County. Yes, I know you're listening, but I'm busy with my medical stuff and what I got going for the takeout shop. But I'll get you to you. Alexis Fontana from Illinois,
Then from a people in Texas, I finally got set up for security in Texas. So Austin, Eversole, like, can you call me anything? And now that you're calling, Corey, I see you calling me, Polanski, and Johnny Allen from Cofield, shout out for you, and Nico Garrier from Garland, and from Cofield, Costellan from Luther, and then Les Reyes, person. And that's it for now. But go to my podcast, and that's where you hear all the cheese man on the podcast. But that's it. I'm watching everything that's going on in the world, but right now I'm worried about my health. Right now I'm just trying to make ends meet. But that's it for right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Coco.
I'll keep up next week. Hopefully, see what's going on next week.
All right. Hope you feel better.
Yeah, well, just medications hopefully kick in. See you next week.
All right. Thank you. Have a great weekend. All right. Now we have Caitlin.
This is a shout out for Bethel Garza in Polonsky. Hey Boo, how are you? I hope that you're in good health, spirits, staying safe, and that there is a smile on your handsome face. As for me, all is good. Yeah, I'm here with Daytona. She is once again having a snoozer, or actually no, she is beginning to wake up. Buddy is doing good. He says howdy. And oh yeah, Morgan, he just dropped by for his dinner. Yeah, a few minutes ago he was barking at the door, so yeah, he wanted his food, so brought that out to him. Yeah, I'm in work tomorrow and for the next few days, but yeah, it's all going good there, so happy out doing that. Anyway, other than that, yeah, please know that you're in my heart, thoughts and prayers, and know that you mean the world to me, and that I'm sending you big hugs and kisses, and good night and sweet dreams. And to the guys, Eric, Mark, Blaine, Will, Debo, Moy, and Rudy, hope you all are doing good too. Okay, take care, y'all. Bye. And to everybody at the Prison Show, a big, big thank you for making this happen.
She is awesome. She always puts a smile on the face for all the guys in the back. Thank you, Caitlin. Thank you very much. Okay, now we have Carmela.
Good evening, Prison Show. I'm sorry my voice is kind of allergies laden. Thank you for taking my call. I have 2 shout-outs. The first one is for Marcus Mullins at Dieball. Hi, Marcus. I hope you're able to get a radio tonight. If not, maybe somebody can let you know that I said hi. I know you talked to Father David. I'm thankful for that. And he's at a camp out with his 3 boys this weekend. So it's the girls at home and the boys on a camp out. I hope things are going well for you. I hope you got some rain, some cooling rain. Although it's been kind of nice weather. We need the rain, so that's good. Just hope things are going well, and keep your head up and keep doing what you need to do. Just take it step by step, and just know that you're loved and thought about. My next shout out is for my nephew, Bradley Aiken. He's either at the San Saba or Beto unit. I don't know which. I just hope somebody that has a radio will let him know that he's loved. And I especially want to say hi to him and wish him a happy, happy birthday. His birthday is Sunday. And the big 3-0. So I just hope you have a great day under the circumstances. Just make it great and keep your chin up, keep your head up, keep your mouth closed, your ears open, and keep your heart open, and just do what you need to do And just take it day by day. Just know that you're loved and thought about. You take care and behave. And just know that you're loved, Bradley. I haven't seen you in probably 20, 30 years, but just know that you're loved. Thank you, Prison Show, for letting me make this call, and thank you for all that you do for all of the families of the incarcerated. Be safe on the road tonight, and enjoy your weekend. Thank you, and good night.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Now we have Kaliango.
Hello to everyone on the Prison Show. Let me give a brief background why I joined the anti-death penalty movement in the US. I came to know the anti-death penalty movement in the US through the late Bill Palicki, a former president of Jan of Hope organization, whom I met in 2011 on Facebook. And finally, I met him physically at the World Day Against Death Penalty conference, which was hosted in Kampala, Uganda in 2014. I remember his preachings were so holy, inspiring, touching, about forgiveness, love, and compassion for all humanity. He also narrated his story about death penalty experience, where he forgives the 4 young girls who involved in murdering of his grandmother, Ruth Palicki. And he forgives them. And also he mobilized signatures for the release of Paul Cooper, who spearheaded the murder. From that day, I got inspired and I joined the anti-death penalty movements. Because I don't believe in judgment of an eye for an eye. No one deserves to die. I have seen a lot of innocent people being executed after serving decades in the prisons, whereby they think that they will get a second chance to live. They end up being executed. It doesn't heal. It creates more victims. It's inhuman. It's barbaric way. Let us all gather to fight against this terror law of killing people. I joined the anti-death penalty movement, and I have been writing letters to inmates in the US and visiting inmates in Uganda, signing execution petitions, and also mobilizing funds through Facebook and other platforms available for the anti-death penalty organizations to facilitate their global efforts towards the end of death penalty around the world. I'm just here planning to attend the Staff for Justice and Victory next year in June. It's annual events. Given a chance to attend this event, I will have an opportunity to interact with fellow activists and death law exoners to discuss more strategies, dialoguing and advocating on how to influence different governments all over the world to abolish death penalty. I will have to return back home after the event, and I will continue spreading more awareness and raising more campaigns on how capital punishment is inhuman. I will also get a chance of hosting them back here in my country, Uganda, for more educating and sensitizing the community not to embrace death penalty.
Greetings to everyone on the Prison Show. I want to send my shout out to Davis Franklin, Robinson Bloberts, Lasso Peter Jr., Reed Rodin, Mam Linda, Madame Dani, David, France, and Peter. Much love and peace from Uganda. Hoping one day I'll get a chance of visiting you there. It will be a great pleasure for me. I wish you a blessed weekend, all of you, the listeners and the hosters. Goodbye.
Thank you, Kalyango. All right, now we have Jason online too. Hi, Jason.
Hello. Hello, Dani. How are you?
Doing good.
Good, good. Well, happy birthday.
You. Okay, that was a. I think every time Jason calls in, we.
Yeah, she was punching buttons.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and let put Lydia.
I bet he's back on line one.
Okay, let's see if that is Jason.
You gonna play Kiki while we're waiting?
Yeah, play Kiki.
Hi, this message is for Rodney Reed at the Polonsky unit. Hey Rodney, it's Kiki. I hope you are doing well. I miss you. I'm glad to hear you're staying strong and keeping the faith. So am I, Rodney. I am also hanging in there. Got a shot yesterday and my eye has been hurting, but it's feeling a lot better today, just a little sore. I'm getting ready to head out to get some x-rays done on my hip and back today. I didn't sleep well last night, but I am gonna go get this appointment done. Anyways, I just wanted to call in and say hi, let you know I am thinking of you, missing you and loving you every day in every way. I hope you have a great weekend. I miss you, Rodney. Thank you, Prison Show. I hope you all have a great weekend and everybody listening out there. Thank you. Talk to you soon, Rodney.
Okay, now we have Jason back.
Happy birthday, happy 45th birthday to the Prison Show. I actually just celebrated a birthday myself a couple days ago, and I'm not much older than the show itself, so that's kind of a cool
happy
thing.
birthday.
Thank you. For my shout outs, I will start with my brothers at the Walls unit and the mentor program. Hey guys, enjoyed meeting not only with our regular mentees, but also we had about 5 new men who joined us, and it was great having you guys, and look forward to working with you. Shout out, of course, to my brothers at the Ellis unit and the Kairos team. I have missed last couple times with you guys, but I look forward to catching up with you guys again here next month. Shout out to specifically to my mentee Corey at the Ferguson unit trustee camp. Hey Corey, I just got your message today, and thank you for sending that along. And I definitely looking forward to seeing you and everyone next weekend, next Saturday, for the graduation of the Making Peace with Your Past class and the Voyager class. That'll be my first time attending that, so thank you for the invitation. I look forward to that. And for my mentor moment today, we're going to start with a kernel of popcorn. So if you've ever looked at a kernel of popcorn and considered, I don't know if you've ever considered what an amazing example of transformation and change a simple kernel of popcorn truly is. So if you think about it, despite its unimpressive appearance, every kernel of popcorn is filled with great potential. However, it's only when the heat is on that its potential is truly realized. Now, as a kernel of popcorn is heated, moisture inside the kernel begins to expand. And as it expands, it begins to soften and stretch the heart of the kernel, bringing about change from the inside out, until the insides of that kernel causes an explosion of that pleasing aroma of popcorn we all know and love. And that change into a delicious, fluffy morsel of popcorn. And that's often the way the change takes place in us, just as similarly as the way changing occurs for us. When the heat gets turned up in our lives, it forces us to make change. So it's often the way that God causes change in our life and of those who belong to Him. God uses the hot and difficult situations in our lives to both soften, stretch, and change us from the inside out. So when the heat is on in your life, take heart and trust God. He always has a plan to bring about your fullest potential and the best for your life. And 1 Peter 1:7 says, "Those who have come so that the proven genuineness of your faith, of greater worth than gold, which perishes, even though refined by fire, may result in praise, glory, and honor when Christ is revealed. And also, you will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you." And that is Isaiah 26. I hope everyone has a great weekend. I am watching Houston play Purdue in the Elite Eight, and it's actually at halftime right now. Purdue is up just by 2 points, 31-29. So hope everyone has a good bracket. And take care, everyone. Keep your head up, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Good night. Have a great weekend, Jason. All right. Now we have Lydia. Hey, Lydia.
Hi, Dani.
How you doing?
I'm doing good here in the valley. There was, well, I'm sure you all heard that we had a big, lots of rain here in the valley. Some places 18 inches.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was a lot of rain. But I'm sure, well, God is with us, and we just have to, like Jason was saying, that was a good message. That was a good message for all of us. And it's true. God takes us through the storm. He's there always with us. Always. But we're good here in the valley. We didn't have damage. We just had some rain in McAllen. I think McAllen had the least. I think it was 6 inches that they said. But I know Janie said, I can't remember how many inches she said they had there at their house over on Trenton. But anyway, mijo, we're good. We all had a good time. Theo came over and had dinner with us, and Tia Patty didn't come. I invited her, but she didn't come. But everyone got to eat and had a good time. Fellowship with Theo. I hadn't seen him in a while since he's always working, and that's because he lives right here. I mean, not hardly ever see him. But tomorrow will be another day. Give me a call. I haven't called Frank, and I called Amanda, but she didn't answer. But I'll try and call Frank tomorrow. I haven't talked to him in a while either. Okay? My saludos to all the guys. I want to thank Mark for the beautiful keychains he sent. They were really nice. My sister really, really liked them. She said she was going to try and make earrings. She says, they look good in earrings. I said, oh, okay. But they are pretty. Thank you very much for thinking of us. And my saludos to Eric, to Blaine, to Ruben, Mark, Roderick, Moises. And I want to give my condolences to Blaine. I know these are difficult times, but know that God is with you, okay? And know that you're thought of and in our prayers, each and every one of you, okay? Good night to everyone, and thanks to all the young ladies at the prison show and to David, okay?
I like the young part. Thank you, Lydia.
Young. I thought I'd make your weekend.
Yes. Thank you.
But, and we got to watch a little bit of the Texas Rangers and Red Sox. We couldn't find the channel till at the end. They were on the 8th inning, and we finally find the channel for baseball, mijo, okay? But we got a little bit of it. We'll watch it tomorrow, God willing. Okay, good night, everyone. Have a good night. Be safe.
You too, Lydia.
Good night.
Good night. All right, now we have Lau.
Hi guys, my name is Lau, and this is the message I have for you today. And it's called, Wear Your Scars with Dignity, a message of grace. Our scars, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual, tell a story of where we have been and how God has redeemed us. They are not marks of shame, but of transformation. The world may judge us by our appearances, but God looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. Too often, and even within the church communities, some people are very quick to judge based on tattoos, past mistakes, or struggles they can see. But Jesus didn't come from those who look perfect on the outside. He came from the broken, for the outcast, and for the sinners, which is all of us. His grace is not reserved for those who fit a certain mold. It is for all who seek him with an open heart. So if you have tattoos, if you wear the marks of a past life, don't hide them in shame. Let them be a testimony of how God has transformed you. Let them be a witness to others who feel they don't belong. Because the truth is, we all belong at the feet of Jesus, no matter what we look like. So wear your scars with dignity, for they are proof of a God who heals, redeems, and restores. Guys, I also want to let you know to please tune in to Worthy People. They're going to show a movie today, and I am very glad to have the opportunity to be the sponsor of that movie. And I left a special message for all of you. So right before they play the movie, you will see me on the screen. Know that you are loved and that we care for you and that we are praying for you. Goodbye.
Wow, thank you, Lau. All right, now we have Jennifer on line 1.
Hi, thank you so much. I was just calling to say hello to my cousin, Humberto Garza, who's at the Polonsky unit. I haven't called in a while, but I just wanted to kind of give you an update, and I also haven't heard from you in a while, so I hope that I get a message in JPay soon. But I know you know that I graduated, and I took my nursing license, the test, and I finally got my license from the state of Texas just a few weeks ago. I am going to be taking a few weeks, or actually a few months off before I start even looking for a job. because I've been in school for so long that I just feel like I need to rest a little bit. But that's it about me. But I want you to know that I did try to call your mom back, I think yesterday or I guess on Wednesday, so that you could wish Alyssa a happy birthday. I know your mom said you just wanted to know, or you just wanted her to know to wish Alyssa a happy birthday. But Alyssa did have a good birthday. She went out to dinner to a fancy restaurant with her boyfriend, and so she's 24 years old this year, and I know time just flies so fast. And Joshua is doing well. They were up at the Blue River in Oklahoma. Once a year, him and his team go to have a big electro fishery experiment, I guess, for the lack of a better word, at the Blue River in Oklahoma. And this year, lots of biologists, I guess, or ecologists joined Joshua's team in Oklahoma because that site has the most species for fish that they catch, and also the most in quantity. I'll have to ask Josh how much it was, but I mean, I remember last year they caught and released and even tagged. You would think they wouldn't even be able to tag these tiny, tiny fish, but they do. And it's amazing that Joshua is able to work in I think, such an environment that he loves so well. But other than that, all of us are doing really well. Odie's doing well, and all of us have just living life and just trying to get by every day. And I just want you to know that we love you and we think of you all the time. And I was contemplating whether I was going to say this or not, but I think it's important, not only for you, but for others listening. I just actually shared this, and sorry if I get emotional, but I actually just shared this on our family chat. And it was just a research study, actually, but I know how important it is for people that have had what we call adverse childhood events or childhood trauma. And so basically what this research study said is the number one thing that anyone can do, there's been so many billions and billions of dollars, right, spent on treatment of childhood abuse and childhood trauma. But there's been so much research, and it's almost just common sense, that America needs to start spending the most money on childhood trauma, on prevention. And I know that so many of us in our family have endured so much trauma, and maybe some of you listening to this are thinking, like, what can I do, from behind bars, or how can I make a difference? And I know that just encouraging, even especially if anybody has young mothers in their family or first-time mothers, just encouraging them to try and get help with any type of class just to be a better parent. And the research really shows that if someone spends the time to just really invest in young mothers and teach them, life skills, that childhood abuse and trauma, I think goes down. I have it in my phone, like 48% or something like that. It's just unbelievable. I'm going to try and get to this thing. So it says, I'm going to read it from the top and it won't take me long. It says, the best solution for childhood trauma isn't treatment, it's prevention. 45 years of gold standard research shows exactly how to do it. The nurse-family partnership model has proven what works for vulnerable first-time parents. Specialized nurses, home visits, starting during pregnancy, continuing through the child's first 2 years of life. The results are staggering. 48% reduction in child abuse and neglect, 56% reduction in emergency room visits, 67% less behavioral problems at age 6, 59% reduction in child arrest at age 15. Think about that. Half of all child abuse and neglect simply prevented. We talk endlessly about treating adverse childhood events after they happen,
But what if we stop them from happening in the first place? This isn't theoretical. This isn't new. This is proven. And it goes on to share that, these 3 randomized controlled trials in different cities and different populations all have the same results. And anyways, I just thought that I would share that with everyone. And I know it's important. Mental health is so important. And I wish that each one of you listening to this that's behind bars would get the mental health that you deserve. Every human being deserves to have mental health, and it's just as important as our physical health.
I'm sorry, Jennifer. We have a few more that are in line.
Yeah, so anyways, Betito, I hope you're doing well, and good night.
Good night, Jennifer. Have a great weekend. All right, let's get to Patty. Hi, Patty.
For Humberto Garza also. Hi, everyone. Like I said, this message for Betito. I call him Betito. Anyway, oh my God. Anyway, Mijito, I just want to tell you that I'm sure you've heard about the storms we had. Mijito, for a little moment, I thought my car was going to float. Your deal said, stay put. But, of course, I didn't listen because it had already been 2 hours of myself being at the same place. And I said, I got to get home. Worst mistake of my life, mijo. Oh, my God, I prayed so much. I don't know. Anyhow, mijito, I made it home. I was the last one in. Your Tia Rosa and your mom were also out there, Andrea, and a lot of my coworkers also. But everyone made it home safely, mijito. I know there's a lot of people out there that didn't. Some lost cars and material things, but all of that can be replaced, mijo. And life cannot. So, thank God we all made it safe. I love you, mijito. Baseball started, so we're on the go again. I love you, mijo. Amanda thinks she's coming for Easter, hopefully. But we're all doing good, papacito. We love you and we miss you. And I love you, papi. Thank you to the Prison Show for letting us do this.
Thank you,
Good night.
Patty. Have a great weekend, Patty. All right, now we have Freddie on line 5. Freddie on line 5. Okay. Hey, Freddie. Hey, Freddie. I guess Freddie's not there. Let's go to Mike.
Hello, this is Mysterious Mike doing his shout-outs for the Prison Show. And here's my shout-outs to Guys of Texas, Guy Alexander, Jamie Tuppick, Stephen Russell, Stephen McGee. Shout-out for Philip Perez. Shout-out for Matt, Thomas, Edward Reeves, Adam Wilkerson. Shout-out for Oz. Tasha wants me to do a shout-out for Payday. Shout-out for Keith Money. Shout-out for Hoff. Shout-out for Aaron Vasquez. Shout-out for Curtis Robertson. Shout-out for Blaine Milam. Shout-out for Bill R. Sims, Raymond Lee Cart, and a special shout-out to Clarence Lee Bowman. Hope everybody enjoys April Fool's Day, and don't get fooled. And you can continue to write to Mysterious Mike in care of David Collingsworth. And now, adios. Back to the Prison Show.
All right, now let's get to Elizabeth. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hello, good evening. Sorry it's been so long.
Oh.
But we're doing okay. We went to go visit Mr. Isidro this Thursday, and my baby's doing good, and I'm very happy that, he's healthier. I mean, I don't like the situation where he's at, but he's doing good. But I just want to let you know, mijo, that we love you and we made it home safely. And, you know, just take care of yourself, and hopefully in 2 more weeks we'll get to go see you again. And you just take care, and I love you. And I want to thank everybody for making it possible for us to be able to say hello to our loved ones. And I hope y'all are doing good.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. We are doing good, and we're glad you called.
Thank you so much. Good evening.
Have a great weekend. All right, now we have Stacy.
This is to my husband, Sporty Black at Wainwright Unit. Hey, baby love, this is kissing your Friday night tuck-in, letting you know all is well with the girls and I. Girls been basking in the weather today, yeah, nice and sunny in the 70s. I've had the spring breeze flowing in our place, yeah, our back door's been open most of the day. Mimi and I went to town earlier, and I picked up a few things at the store. I messed with the machine early a.m. and placed on our comments we spoke on with our whispers last night. I've still a few things to do, though, but I'll finish them up in a minute. Yeah, baby, this is just kissing you. All is well. Remain healthy and safe. Stay focused and tough. I got you, boo. I love you, Sporty. Take care.
All right, now I want to do a few shout outs. Sean Glatz at the Huntsville unit. Thank you so much for the letter. Linda showed it to me. I was out last week, but she showed it to me today. Thank you so much. Big shout out to Farron, and great big hugs to Blaine. Shout out to David Davis, Larry at the Huntsville unit, Taylor Parker, Robert Solis, Brett T, Big Head, Philo. Hey, Philo. Mayo, Rodrigo, Leroy, Joel White, Jay at the Win unit, and of course, CJ. Great big shout outs to every single one of you. And I did get letters from Jamin at the Estelle unit, Mr. Fuentes at the Wainwright unit, Serafin Flores at the All Red unit, Anthony Covert at in California, and Jim Hamilton from the Estelle unit. And Linda has some, right, Linda?
Well, it says shout out to Raymond Becerra, Jeremiah Rodriguez, Devin Wynn, Eric Pleasant, Stephen Drayton, Tyler Adams, Robert Roberson, Robert Satterfield, Robert Solis, Lucky Ward, Ronald Haskell, Gary Green, Franklin Davis, Micah Brown, Jaime Cole, Blaine Milam, Paul DeVoe, Marcus Drury, Pete Russell, Will Spear, Kerry Allen, Britt Ripkowski, Christopher Turner, Larry Hatton, Bill Sims, Iron Thunderhorse, Sean Glatz, Will Spear, Alfred Mitchell, David Wood, Walter Sorto, Gregory Allen, Curtis Robertson, Midget Titan, Paper Cup, Sugar Pom Pom, William Owen Sr., Stephen Curry, Charles Thompson, Travis Fletcher, Edward Holland, Dennis Price, Joel White, Talon Carter, Chauncey Bolton, Kimberly Cargill, Alex Sparks, Thomas Miller L., Eugene Broxton, Troy Glover, Joel White, Jedediah Reed, Juan Balderas, and Paul Story. I think I got you on there twice, Joel White.
You do.
I do.
You do.
Okay, well, that's it today.
Hey, David, what about
Hey,
you?
I got a list too. Of course, Travis Fletcher. Everybody's hollering at Travis tonight. Boy,
Yeah,
tonight's
hey.
Travis night, isn't it?
It is. Hey, Travis, I'm feeling alone. I'm not.
He said, "Hey, boo."
Hey, boo.
All right. Daryl Atkins, Ronald Allman, Tiffany Cheeks, Stephen Drayton, Daniel Farrell, Michael Flores, Victor Gamble, Franquan Hayes, Maury Holloway, Matthew Hoover. Hang on, let me get the next page. All these electronics. Daniel Lipscomb, James McElreath, Big James, Akeem McKiver, Ireland McKay, Curtis Otto, Maria Pena, Jaime Quijano, Jaron Reasonover, Montana Ruckman, John Thomas, Juan Vertigo, Travis Walters, David Weller. I think that's about it.
That's it?
Well, I got Jennifer Isaac. I got 2 letters from Jennifer Isaac, and she's all the way from Virginia Beach Correctional Center, which I think that's the sheriff's office over there. And I got a whole bag full of letters. I need to return some messages, some e-messages. And I wanted to let some of y'all guys know that some of y'all been calling, and I've said it before. I mean, I don't recognize the number. I don't answer it. I'm not even sure I can collect calls on my phone. Some people tell me that I can. I never have. I've got such a high phone bill, and I work so much anyway. But you guys can write me. I mean, I'll write you back sometimes. But mainly, we just want to know that you're listening. I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, because we have so many people on the show that may or may not be able to help you. But our job is to give them a platform. You're going to call and write me and ask me to give you an attorney. I don't have an attorney. We have attorneys on the show. That's why Meghann gave out her address earlier. Terry Pedden, he gives out his address. Paul Morgan, whenever he's on, he gives out his address. You guys write those guys. Write Tifa, write Prison Alliance, write Brittany. Whoever's out there, whoever's on the show, Marcy Marie. They want to hear from you too. I'm not trying to be a crybaby about it, but Miss Linda and Danny run up and down the highway all the time. They pay their own gas. They really don't have a lot of money. And whenever the phone calls are coming in and then the e-messages are coming in, you realize we get out to 45 states, and that'll add up quick. And we kind of got this way overnight. I mean, we're just trying to get up a little bit of money and all this stuff. We don't have any right now. So y'all bear with us, okay? We love to see your messages. We love to know that you're shouting out to us. Give us a letter. I got 2 letters right here from Jennifer Isaac. That's the best I can come up with. You agree with me, Dani?
I completely agree with you.
I mean, we want to do for you guys as much as we can do for you guys, but what we can do best for you guys is to give you a platform. Tell your family to call, make the shout-outs, write the advocates that we get up on here. Listen to their addresses, because sometimes I get letters from guys saying that it returned to sender. And whenever I get a copy of the envelope and I look, the address is wrong. So listen carefully. It's the best I can come up with. And in the meantime, stay tuned for Skyla Dawn and Damage Control. And we really appreciate you guys tuning in. We really appreciate everything that y'all are doing. Keep your heads up, man. Keep your heads up.
And y'all have a great weekend.